Hey everybody, welcome to tonight's HistoryBites Festive Factoids. Tonight we are looking at mistletoe, the plant that has fallen out of favour in recent years. The kissing plants, the Christmas horror occasionally at primary school where people used to chase you around. But mistletoe has a very different history. In the wrong hands it is capable of destroying gods and bringing about the end of the world. But more on that later. Let's deal with this strange kissing thing that happens under the mistletoe. This was something that became popular around the 18th century with servants of highborn houses. You had your lords and ladies upstairs, your servants downstairs, essentially, sort of think Downton Abbey type thing. And while your lords and ladies are having parties upstairs, your servants want something to do at Christmas as well. So mistletoe, this plant that's been sacred really for many years, we'll get onto that shortly, became something that they could play with. You could hang it in a doorway, and it became a tradition that a lady would stand under it and any gentleman who passed was obliged almost to kiss her. She didn't have to, it wasn't mandatory, but if you didn't kiss the gentleman in question, you were probably going to have bad luck for the year as the lady. It became a sort of game after that. You could chase people around the kitchens with it, slightly bawdy, drunk behaviour, anything you can think of really. Not too far different from the small kids running around at school with plastic mistletoe, except they weren't drunk except for Coca-Cola or something. Yes, a different tradition for it was for every kiss that was taken, you would pluck one of the berries off, and when all the berries were gone, no more kissing. That ends your fun. So if you didn't want to get kissed by anybody, hang your mistletoe up and pull all the berries off it first. Great joke. Anyhow, that is pretty much the history of why we kiss under the mistletoe. It began as a servant's game. Mistletoe, however, has a much longer history than that. It was known about in ancient times. They thought of it as a fertility plant. Indeed, it's associated very, very much with male fertility, so much so that the Greek name for it actually translates as oak sperm, which is not a particularly attractive name for the plant, perhaps. Anyhow, Romans are quite famous for hanging this outside their doors during Saturnalia. It was a sign that you were enjoying the party, everything was going on, people were welcome in your house, and again, it's this evergreen, same as the Christmas tree. It's light and life in the darkness of the winter months. It also has an interesting connotation in that in legend both Odysseus and Aeneas used mistletoe they found growing at the entrance to Hades to gain access to the underworld. It was a symbol of peace, almost like your white flag. You bear mistletoe, you come in peace. And that's your basic element to it. There is, however, another part of mythology, the mythology that I referred to at the beginning, the mythology of which mistletoe can bring down the gods. Now for this story we have to travel to the land of the Norsemen, and with the help of my favourite god, Loki, the trickster, everybody's favourite god, mistletoe becomes extremely dangerous. So what happened in the legend? Odin and Frigga, the rulers of the Nordic world, had a child, two children actually, well, several children actually, but two were twins, Hodor and Baldur. Gotta get those names right, I've been watching Game of Thrones, bear with me if I get them wrong. So Hodor and Baldur were the children of Odin. Now, Hodor was blind, but Baldur was the most beautiful god known to man. He looked like Adonis of Greek mythology. He was powerful, he was radiant, he was the god of the sun, he was chiselled from the very rock of the earth and everything you essentially wanted a super powerful god to look like if he was gorgeous and striding around town. Anyhow, he was god of the sun. Loki was very jealous of this. Being a god of fire himself, he wasn't keen on somebody stealing his limelight. Because Baldur was so beautiful, his mother Frigga travelled the world to ensure that nothing would ever harm him. She enlisted the assistance of the animals, the plants, the rocks, every living thing. She extracted a promise from them that they would never ever harm Baldur. The only thing she failed to extract a promise from was the mistletoe that grew out of the oak tree at the gates to Valhalla. Now, one day when the gods had finished playing with their discus or whatever in the fields, they realised that Baldur was invincible, essentially. They could do anything they liked, so they began throwing rocks and spears and stones and all kinds of things at him. Loki, disguised as an old woman, sidled alongside Frigga and asked what the gods were doing. Will they not hurt him? What is going on? How can they be so sure that he will not be killed or injured? To which Frigga proudly replies that she has the promises of every living thing, that Baldur will not be harmed. Loki's not so sure about this, so pushes the question a little further. Are you sure? Are you absolutely sure there's nothing that can harm him? Frigga carries on with her sewing and goes, well, there was this one insignificant plant, the mistletoe, at the gates to Valhalla, but it's so small and insignificant it can never be a problem. Ha ha, Loki is our trickster god. This is exactly the information that he wants. Quick as he can travel very fast, he can transform himself. He travels to the gates of Valhalla, acquires the mistletoe, and in doing so injects the mistletoe with a poison. This merges the mistletoe with the oak with which it is growing out of, and Loki is able to fashion a spear from the mistletoe, the only material on the planet that can hurt Baldur. Back he goes to where the gods are all still having fun throwing their missiles at Baldur, and in the corner he notices Hodor, blind Hodor, the twin brother of Baldur, and says, "Why are you not joining in the fun? Why can you not throw things at your brother like all the other gods does?" Hodor, being blind, states the obvious back to Loki, "Well, I can't see him, so how can I hit him?" Loki, being kind and a gentle god, takes hold of Hodor's hand, leads him forwards, passes him the spear made of mistletoe, and points him in the direction of his brother Baldur. The spear is unleashed. Hodor hopes that everyone will cheer, the same as all the other gods have been doing, and is shocked as there is silence, and the great, gorgeous Baldur has been killed by the mistletoe. Loki, meanwhile, has made himself completely scarce. You won't be seeing him for a couple of weeks, because, of course, it couldn't possibly be Loki's fault. Why would the trickster god have anything to do with the strange mistletoe that's killed the most gorgeous god on the planet? Not Loki, no way. The interesting thing about this is not only has the mistletoe killed the great god Baldur, it is also the first of Loki's steps towards Ragnarok. This is the very, very first move that Loki makes in bringing down the gods of Asgard. This is the move that will take them on into Ragnarok and the end of the world of gods and men. So there we have it, the humble mistletoe, not just a plant for kissing under at Christmas. You can have a bit of fun with it. That chap you don't want to kiss? No, 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 no. This thing kills gods, you better stay away. Anyhow, that's everything from me for tonight. That's probably all I'll have done before Christmas. And I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.